Fresh from the Farmers Market is brought to you by Taste Catering and Event Planning.
Radio V. Radio in TV.
Radio in TV.
It's Saturday morning and I'm at one of my favorite spots on earth, the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market. Today is bound to be informative and exciting. Yes, I said exciting because today's episode is all about eggs.
There is a place out west where you can find the best of vegetables. It's down by the bay, a cornucopia of delectables. And everybody knows that the place to go to meet a farmer laureate. Is that a wonderful spot where all the chefs shop a lot? Ferry Plaza Farmers Market.
Let's meet Dave Stockdale. He's the executive director at Quesa. He'll explain exactly why Quesa adopted a policy to allow only pasture-raised eggs to be sold at the farmers market. So tell me a little bit about Quesa.
Well, Plaza, we're a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to promote a sustainable food system.
Wow.
And for us, sustainability is about being environmentally responsible, it's about being humane, about being socially just, and about being economically viable. And so those values inform who's in the market and the policies that we use to select the people that are here.
This episode, we're focusing on eggs. I know that recently the market stopped carrying any cage-free or free-range eggs and is only carrying pasture-raised eggs. How did that decision come about?
Well, it comes from that mission about being humane. And as we studied and researched more and more, we realized that there were many extravagant terms out there for egg production. Yeah. All these things that it was confusing to people what they meant, and were they really humane? Are free-range chickens really treated humanely? Well, if you have an hour or so to go out and be on the range, but the rest of your day is inside, in a barn, in a shed, is that really humane? So, working through all the different production systems out there, we concluded that pasture-raised is really the only kind of system that truly meets our humane management goal. So we introduced that in February. We had to do a lot of public education to help people understand the differences.
I correlate pasture-raised chickens and pasture-raised eggs with happy chickens, right? I mean, they're doing what chickens do. They're not confined.
Absolutely.
They're living their life out there on the range. So what regulations did you put in place for the farmers who are selling their pasture-raised eggs here? I mean, what are the requirements that they need to meet in order to sell?
Well, what they need to meet are the requirements for being pasture-raised in terms of having the ample space and the pasture system to use.
Okay.
They can have protective structures because the chickens do naturally roost at night, and they do need a safe, protected environment from predators like coyotes or whatever. So structures are fine, but we want their daytime to be outside and with access to fresh water and to fresh grass.
What was the reaction when you took away some of the other options and it was only pasture-raised eggs that were sold here?
Most people were very excited and very supportive that we were taking this step to truly ensure that they were getting humanely raised eggs. They were happy about that. Some of the concerns, though, were around the price point, because the humanely raised eggs, these pasture-raised systems, are a little bit more expensive. So that's where our role as an educational organization comes into play. We're trying to understand that it's worth investing in this kind of system in order to have healthier eggs, and healthier animals.
Well, thank you so much. This has been really, really interesting, and I think what you're doing here at Quesa and at the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market is really important. So, thank you. Hi, Dan.
Yes, hi, Annie.
Hi, lovely to see you here at the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market. So I see that you have a bag here and you've been shopping. And do you typically shop here on Saturdays?
On Saturdays we do.
Okay.
Try to hit it every Saturday morning.
Nice, a nice ritual.
Yes, very nice.
Excellent, excellent. So what is your favorite thing that you've bought today that's in your bag?
Probably the strawberries.
Ooh.
Had lots of nice fresh strawberries today.
Yes. Let's see. Oh, beautiful.
Just one basket today,
These
but the
are...
kids love them, so we have to have them.
And what's your plan with these bad boys?
Mainly for the kids. Put them on yogurt in the mornings, put them in the lunch basket when they go to school, lunchbox, and put them on some ice cream later.
A healthy, sweet treat for the kids.
Exactly.
I like that. All right, well, Dan, enjoy your day.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for sharing your bag.
Enjoy talking to you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Let's meet Charlie and Liz of Rolling Oaks Ranch. They have 1,300 girls. That's one big happy family. Here we are at the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market Saturday morning, and I am here with Charlie and Liz of Rolling Oaks Ranch. Hi.
How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for talking with me this morning.
Absolutely.
All about your pasture-raised eggs. Is that right?
That's correct.
So tell me a little bit about what's the difference between a pasture-raised egg and something that I would buy just in the grocery store?
A lot of times people go to the grocery store and they see the big fancy egg cartons and it says pasture raised or cage free or even organic. The folks that buy those eggs, they should be very careful because the corporate has stolen our wording, and the wording used to be cage free, and it meant that the girls were out in the pasture. But really truly what it means now is the chickens are just inside a big warehouse on a cement floor running around, and they really have very little access at all to the outside. Same thing with range free. That was supposed to mean what we do now, which is pasture raised. And that means we let the girls out of our portable trailers every morning. They come outside and they stay outside and eat the bugs, the grasses, and so on. And then they go back in, produce their eggs, and come back out, finish the day, and at dark 30, they go back in and we close the door behind them. But we make no modifications whatsoever on the birds. Like commercial people, they burn them or clip their beaks and clip their wings. We make no modifications, as well as lighting, air condition, heating, as well as they treat the water sometimes that goes in. So we make no modifications whatsoever. Unfortunately, that is just the way it is.
Do you believe in the taste difference between your eggs and
Absolutely. I challenge people all the time, even if they say, hey, we just bought eggs cage-free at whatever restaurant, whatever grocery store. I challenge them, like, take half a dozen of our eggs, put it side by side in your skillet, cook it the way you normally do, and please don't add no salt and pepper, and for God's sake, no ketchup, and taste the egg.
Yeah.
You can see the difference the second you crack it.
Yeah.
You can taste the difference, and you can, they're 34% less cholesterol, 10 times more vitamin D, and 6 times more omega-3. So just for your own nature's sake, so to speak, think about, you want to pay the pharmaceutical companies or you want to pay for good eggs?
Well, thank you so much.
You bet.
Pleasure seeing you both.
It's always our pleasure.
Okay.
Anytime.
Thanks.
You bet.
I'm here with Dulce and Mama. Hi.
Hi.
Great to see you. And so you have a huge cart here filled with produce from the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market.
Yeah.
What is something that you bought here this morning that you're excited about, and tell me all about it?
I got halibut that we will steam, and then scallops that we sear with mustard sauce. And then I have 10 pounds of oranges for the whole week.
Wow.
As part of my packed lunch.
Wow, excellent. Okay.
Strawberries too.
Well, thank you for talking to me.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
to meet you.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Here's Richie at Hapa Ramen. He makes us a mean bowl of steaming, brothy noodles with a slow-cooked organic egg on top. It's not pasture-raised, and he'll tell you why. So, want to learn a bit about your business, about Hapa Ramen, and the role that eggs play in your ramen dish.
So I was eating a lot of ramen out in the city and realized there was no good options for organic ramen or ramen that used sustainable ingredients. So I started making it at home a lot and was using all market-driven ingredients, seasonal ingredients, and it worked out really well. And we opened up down here. We don't use any MSG. We just totally derive all the glutamates from seaweed, and we use organic pork bones, organic chicken, and everything down to garlic, onions, ginger, carrots, it's all organic.
How long does it take typically for your broth to get all of its flavor? Because I know ramen, in my experience, is like a really flavorful broth. Right. So I would imagine it takes a while.
Yeah, it used to take a really long time. Now we cook it a lot more aggressively on the stove.
It's
It's almost like a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And it goes for about 8 to 10 hours.
Seems like such a labor of love.
It is. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but I think it's worth it.
Let's make it, yeah? Okay. Nice. Lots of flavor. Okay, so the egg. Let's talk about the egg.
So we slow cook the egg in an immersion circulator.
Wow.
And so it's like a poached egg, but it's cooked a lot more delicately.
Oh.
It never gets a rubbery white. The yolk stays really custardy.
So this egg is already cooked?
This egg is already cooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just crack it.
Oh, wow, beautiful. Okay.
So that's our egg right there.
And so tell me about where you get your eggs and the history of eggs and Hapa Ramen.
In the beginning, we got eggs from River Dog Farm, and we were getting pastured eggs then. And then when we started getting busier and busier and busier, we just realized we couldn't afford to carry those eggs anymore unless we charged our customer a higher price point. And now we get them from Petaluma Farms.
Okay.
And it's an organic egg. It's cage-free, but we had to back off using the pastured eggs.
I mean, why were you driven to use pasture eggs in the first place?
Well, I mean, we want to give our guests the best quality ingredient, and then we also want to do the right thing from it. Really, more than anything, it has the best flavor.
It does. You believe that?
Yeah, definitely. Like when we get into the restaurant, I think that we can probably go back to using the pastured eggs, but for right now, down here at the market, when we're selling out of like a paper cup and the guest sees that it costs $3 instead of $1 for an egg, I just think people would stop getting it,
And cost is a factor, particularly I would imagine when you're walking up to a booth.
Yeah, I mean, if someone's coming down here and they have, $10 to spend on lunch, and then to add an egg in there was, a third of that cost for them.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they would do it. So it's something we've kind of struggled with lately. And I've even talked to different farmers about like, if we order this many eggs a week, could we get a break on the price or anything like that? But there's really no break on the price with the pastured eggs because the amount of work that goes into raising those chickens.
It's a lot of work.
So, yeah.
Yep. That is a beautiful bowl of ramen.
That's it. That's our soup.
Ta-da.
Thank you.
So if people want to learn more about Hapa Ramen, are you online?
Yeah, we're all over online. Hapa Ramen on Twitter and then haparamen.tumblr.com.
All right, Hapa Ramen. Oh man. Uh-huh. Cooked perfectly too.
Yeah.
They're like chewy, but
Yeah, we try to keep the chew in them, just not keep them in the water too long.
really nice. Awesome. Great bowl of ramen. Thanks, Richie. Hi, Whitney.
Hi, Annie.
So I see that you've done a lot of shopping here at the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market.
I have. It's my favorite month.
Excellent. Oh, good. Seasonal.
Seasonal apricots when they come into season.
Uh-huh. And so you've got some apricots in your bag.
I do.
Yes. What's in this bag?
So this is something I have never tried before. It's Persian plum.
Oh.
Do you want to try one?
Yeah, please.
So
will you try one with me?
Sure.
Okay.
I've never had them before.
Persian plum.
Persian plum. Apparently, in Persia, they dip them in salt and just eat them. They're sort of tart. But then you can do like pickling, or you can make like a yogurt soup with them.
Oh.
So I'm gonna go home and look up some recipes as to what to do with them. I think that they'd be great preserved for cocktails.
Oh, yes.
So
that sounds excellent. Like a little. Somebody would probably try the cocktail and be like, "What is this in there?" And then you could say it's a Persian plum. And
Only
that
in
sounds
San
so
Francisco.
sophisticated. God. All right, let's try it.
Okay.
Ooh, tart. Mm-hmm. Good.
Right?
Almost like a grape.
It's like a grape and a plum.
It's like a grape and a plum mixed.
Yeah.
with a little vegetable essence in there.
Right. That's why I was thinking bergamot could be good, but I don't have any idea really.
Wow. Whitney, I'm impressed with you. Ooh, that's good. Okay. Thanks, Whit.
Of course.
Enjoy the day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you, I will.
Okay.
Here's Jason at the Eat Well Farm stand at the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market. He claims Eat Well's eggs are the best you'll ever taste. Let's find out. I am here with Jason of Eat Well Farm. Hi, Jason.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
It's a beautiful morning.
Very beautiful.
Yes. I want to talk to you about your eggs and pasture raised, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about pasture raised, tell me about Eat Well Farm, and about your chickens.
Well, the chickens are really the backbone of our farm. I mean, the chickens make everything possible here. With the chickens, and by pasture raised, we have like 3 to 5 acres, and there's about 3 houses. The houses are mobile. We move them with the tractors across the pasture for about 3 months. So what we have is about 3,000 chickens on 3 to 5 acres. And over that 3 months, like I say, we move them, and they eat up all the pasture. And then on top of eating up the pasture, we give them a very amazing diet. It's very, very diverse. We start off with like corn and wheat soaked in organic whey. The corn and the wheat are both organic. And we get the whey from the local organic creamery. And then from there, we go with organic soybean, alfalfa, and kelp. And then on top of that, they get like all the leftover vegetables that are, starting to spoil on the farm, so we feed that to them, as well as all the table scraps from the house. So these chickens, the diversity in the egg or in the diet makes for a really amazing tasting egg.
So you said earlier that chickens are the backbone of your farm, of Eat Well Farm. Expand on that. What do you mean by that?
By the backbone, they are our primary and only source of fertilizer. So while they roam free on the 3 to 5 acres, they're fertilizing the ground all over. And then they're there on that pasture for about 3 months, and then we move them to fresh pasture. From the pasture that we just moved them from, they provide us with 3 years of fertile soil.
3 years of fertile soil, that's a lot. Okay, so the only other thing I want to talk to you about is this little card that you have that's sitting out in front of your big bin of eggs here. And it says, fresh pasture and organic feed equals nutritionally superior, delicious eggs. Undoubtedly the best you will ever taste.
I couldn't agree more.
True?
Yeah, very true.
Okay, I mean, that's quite a statement. You're not messing around.
No.
So interesting. Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Bye. Let's take a trip to meet Nigel Walker at Eat Well Farm. He'll tell us all about his happy hens, their eggs, and the glories of chicken poop, and how it makes veggies grow. So tell us a little bit about your chickens and the eggs that they produce.
Well, we're here in the chicken pasture. Each year we have 60 acres of vegetable growing ground, and each year 20 acres of that are devoted to pasture. So this is the chicken time on this pasture here, and we move them around. You see here, in 10 days they've taken this down to bare ground. In a couple of days we'll move the chicken houses this way onto some fresh pasture. And they distribute their manure all over here, and then in about a couple of months, when they've gone all around this particular pasture, we move them on to the next pasture. And this coming fall, we'll be growing all our fall vegetable crops here, using the fertility that the chickens have deposited.
So purely from the chickens, you're able to raise vegetable crops?
For 2 years.
For 2 years.
For 2 years.
That's incredible. So they're what's the best word for it? Manure?
Yeah.
Contains a lot of really great nutrients that help the soil and help things grow in the soil. Is that right?
Because we also have the pasture, we have clovers in the pasture, so we're growing a cover crop as well. So the roots of the plants that are growing here are producing nutrients too. The chickens are consuming it. We're also feeding them organic grains and organic corn. And so the fertility from that is going into this pasture too.
The fertility, I like that word.
Yeah, well it is all about the fertility, and they're producing great eggs.
Yep.
And they're eating the bugs, and they're breaking any disease cycle.
Interesting.
So basically our vegetable fields take a sabbatical every 3 years. So 2 years of vegetables, 1 year of pasture. and then they keep going on that cycle and building the fertility of the soil.
So with the pasture-raised eggs, these are chickens that are in the pasture. This is what it means to have a pasture-raised egg. Is it this?
Well, the door's open 24/7.
There's a door, but
there's a door. The only time the door ever gets closed is if we move them from one pasture to the next.
And how often do they stay in this pasture?
Well, they'll be here about 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Until they work this pasture out, and then they move next door to the other side of the trees to the next pasture.
Okay.
So over the year, they're going to move over 20 acres.
Wow.
Right.
It's covering a lot of ground.
Yeah, they cover a lot of ground, but you can see, as you can see in 10 days, this was a beautiful green pasture just 10 days ago. And so they have already done a number on this, and we have to keep them moving.
So let's talk about the eggs. So these chickens are producing pasture-raised eggs.
Right.
And so we spoke with Jason at the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market, and he told us a little bit about your eggs.
Right.
Saying that they're the best tasting eggs. I think you have it on a card, like the best tasting eggs ever, or something like that. I don't know what it says. Obviously, the chicken's diet plays a part in the way that the egg tastes, right?
Right. Yeah. We give them a very varied diet. So they get organic corn, whole organic wheat. We get whey from Cowgirl Creamery and soak those in the whey, and that all the lactic acids, all the fermentation goes on, and it helps pre-digest them for the chickens.
So they're happy and healthy chickens.
Well, you can see. I mean, they're not exactly running away from us.
No, they're friendly, actually.
Yeah. These started laying back in February, and they're laying really well at the moment.
So what does that mean? How many eggs will a chicken lay in a day or in a week?
Well, if you take a chicken in a regular chicken house where you control the humidity, you control the total environmental control, control the light, everything, they'll lay about 6 eggs a week.
Okay.
Just about 1 a day.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the chicken crop can only hold a certain volume of food. And if they use that food to run around and keep warm, because we don't heat these houses, they're not using that to produce eggs. So I am hoping for 3 to 4 eggs as an average.
Per week?
Per week from these chickens over their life.
How much does a dozen eggs cost from Meatwell Farm?
Well, we sell them at the farmer's market for $9 a dozen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's still less than $1 an egg.
It is less than $1 an egg, but it's not cheap.
No.
But the thing is when you look at what it takes to produce a cheap egg, I think if most people went into a chicken house, a regular chicken house, and saw how they were produced, they would not eat eggs.
Yeah.
They wouldn't eat eggs. And the other thing is, if you really want eggs that are produced using pesticides that pollute the groundwater, then, well, that's fine. That's fine for you. You could even do pasture-raised eggs that are produced using pesticides and artificial fertilizers. That's fine too. But the way we do it because I want to feed my family and our community, which is our CSA members and the market. I want to feed them really good eggs.
Nigel Walker, thank you so much.
My
It was a pleasure.
Okay.
Pamela Mazzola is the executive chef and co-owner of Prospect Restaurant in San Francisco. She tells us why she loves pasture-raised eggs and her favorite way to crack one. So we're here at the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market, and we're in front of Rolling Oaks Ranch. Charlie and Liz sell incredible pasture-raised eggs.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I know that you purchase their eggs for Prospect Restaurant.
Yes.
And so I wanted to get a better understanding as to why you decide to use pasture-raised eggs at Prospect. What are the benefits of pasture-raised eggs and putting them on the menu?
Well, I think the main reason I use them is because I believe in the product and I believe in what Charlie and Liz are doing and their stewardship of the land and how they raise their chickens and their eggs. Their nutritional value of pasture-raised eggs is much higher, and they're really tasty. And that's what I eat at home, and I want to really be able to provide that experience for my customers also.
Okay, so I know that pasture-raised eggs, I mean, they're significantly more expensive.
Yes.
For a good reason. But does that, Is that a hindrance at all? I mean, have you thought, oh, I don't know if we can move forward with this, it's just too expensive, or is it's always worth it for you?
I think it's always worth it for us, and we do use them in a little bit focused, more focused usage. We use all their eggs for brunch, where we're serving eggs over easy. I also use their pullet eggs at dinner. The pullet eggs are a little bit smaller egg that are laid by young hens, and they're really hard to find, and they're really delicious. I think the flavor and the way that they influence the food that they're used in is really important. You know, kind of when I was thinking about why we use them in the expense, it occurred to me to question why eggs are as inexpensive as they are. And some of the reason is because of the way they're raised, and it's not actually in the best, most sustainable, environmentally friendly way. So I'm willing to pay more because I'm getting those other benefits.
Yeah.
With as long with flavor, it's also kind of stewardship of the land.
And knowing that eggs are coming from happy chickens who are raised humanely.
And happy people.
Are
raising them.
Yes, yeah. I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like eggs are featured prominently on your brunch menu at
Yes,
Prospect.
they are.
Where eggs really get to shine, right? Because they're... how are you serving them on the brunch menu?
One of my favorite ways is to soft poach them, and serving them on a duck hash.
Ooh.
And French scrambled eggs are also one of our favorites, where we're serving it right now on a brioche toast with mimolette cheddar and asparagus, which is in season right now.
Wow, yeah.
We have about 5 or 6 different egg dishes on the menu, and they are served in many different ways.
Quick chef question, just because I'm curious. How do you crack an egg? What's your favorite method?
Well, there's a lot of, I'm a one-handed cracker myself.
Oh, fancy that.
Yeah, I know. It takes a lot of dexterity, but it's exactly what people are looking for.
So give me just this?
Just on the side.
On the side of the bowl.
Yes. But, one of the techniques that we use, if we're scrambling the eggs or making eggs for omelet, we always strain them.
Oh.
Just in case there's any shells.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, so you're straining to get rid of
any pieces of shell.
Any shell.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is go to a nice restaurant and have shell.
And have eggshell. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, Pamela, thank you so much. Really interesting to talk to you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Great.
What an exceptional day. These little protein-packed wonders are certainly all they're cracked up to be. I'm Annie Happel, and we are fresh from the farmer's market.
Fresh from the Farmer's Market is brought to you by Taste Catering and Event Planning.
Radio V. Radio in TV.
Radio in TV.